Hey, Viewsters. Really quickly, I just want to tell you about a really great new wine subscription service. Join the Community Wine and Spirits monthly wine club, the Mutual Satisfaction Society. You'll receive 3 carefully selected bottles every month, complete with tasting notes and detailed information on each wine, all for only $90. Join in the next 24 hours and get 20% off your first shipment. Want fancier wine than that? They got you. Join the Mutual Satisfaction Society, plus, for extra satisfaction, $150 will get you 3 very special bottles of wine. Let them take the trouble out of selecting great wines that you will love. Your first shipment is 20% off just for listening to View the Right Thing. Join the community today at www.communitywineandspirits.com or DM them at CommunityWS.
Andrew is a promising drumming student at a prestigious music conservatory and is determined to be nothing short of being among the greatest jazz drummers of all time. To achieve his dreams of being one of the greats, his instructor ruthlessly drills him through emotionally abusive behavior, fear, and intimidation. Now that he is firmly within the grasp of his instructor, will Andrew sacrifice his well-being and relationship with his father and girlfriend? Wes and Alexis get jazzed about their review of this movie, nominated for 5 Academy Awards and winner of 3, Whiplash, on View the Right Thing.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Before we get into this episode, just wanted to reach out and give a little bit of a trigger warning. In this episode, we do talk about some pretty heavy topics, including drug addiction, violence, death, and suicide. And if you or anyone you know is thinking about suicide or having troubled thoughts, just dial 988 and someone is there to speak to you. Hey, welcome back to another episode of View the Right Thing. I'm Wes.
And I'm Alexis.
Hi, Alexis.
Hi, Wes.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Yo, you look like you have a lot of energy.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
I'm sorry.
No, you're great. No, maybe it'll...
Everything's fine.
Maybe I'll be infected with energy. We'll see. I'm tired.
Aw.
But that's not your problem. That's not our listeners' problem.
Who else is tired? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you tired?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's happening? What's new?
What's happening? You know, life is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Things are good.
Mm-hmm.
I went shopping yesterday, and I am not a shopper.
Grocery shopping? Clothes shopping?
No, clothes shopping.
Oh, fancy.
It was very fun.
Did you buy clothes?
I did.
Wow.
I did, and it felt really good. I went with my old roommate, Emily. She helped me pick out some stuff because for the last couple of years, it's been clothing swaps or like resale stores.
Yeah. What made... So did Emily pry you out to do that? Because you sounds like you don't do it very often.
Yeah. We we had it on the calendar.
Oh, okay. So she's like, I need to schedule this with you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, shout out to Emily.
Yay. Thanks,
Yay,
Emily. What's going on with you?
Oh, what's going on with me? What's going on? Not a lot. I got a new vinyl record.
Ooh, do tell.
I got a couple. I got Ghostbusters.
Ooh, wow, nice.
And then I got, which actually what I really like about that is side B has score from it, which I really like. It has Dana's theme and it has the Ghostbusters theme, which is the song but with no music.
What?
No lyrics. No, sorry, not no music. No, definitely music to it. No lyrics. And then
Spoken word.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna call?
Who are you going to call?
Busters.
And then it only had 3 songs from the score, but it was a heavily soundtracked movie. So, It has that main theme that's like do-do-do-do-do.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, which is the one song I really wanted. So
good.
So I was pretty happy with that. And then I got Marvin Gaye's Number Ones. So
Ooh.
yeah, and I got the I did I'm doing an allergy study. And they gave me a Target gift card for showing up. So that's why I got records.
Clever.
And so I got the Target exclusive Marvin Gaye Number Ones, which is it's like a lavender disc. So,
Really?
Yeah, I really like the Target ones because they do colored discs. Colored platters. Yeah, there's a Billie Eilish one I really want that's glow in the dark.
Really? But is it edited?
No, I mean
No?
You mean explicit or versus edited?
Correct.
So the one that's glow in the dark is the album with Bad Guy. The new album, which is you're probably more wondering if it's edited, is not glow in the dark. It's a different. I can't remember what color it is. It's either I think it's yellow.
Okay.
And no, I think it's explicit. I think you can get the edited versions, but
gotcha.
The default of what they sell is I got a couple Taylor Swifts that are really great. I got like a one's lavender and one's tangerine.
Oh, fun.
I think 1989 is tangerine.
Oh.
And Olivia Rodrigo's Guts, I think, is purple of some kind.
But they're not edited.
No.
Okay.
No.
I only ask because I was walking through a Target once and was forced to listen to just Taylor Swift on repeat.
In the store?
In the store.
Well, I'm sure in the store they got to have those edited versions. But when you buy them, you don't want the edited one.
But it was like so edited that...
Taylor Swift was edited?
Uh-huh.
She's not that bad.
I know. But like,
I mean, there are some things.
I think she says something about dying or dead or something, and they bleeped the word dead out, and I was like,
it's a trigger for people,
I guess.
Yeah.
I was just like, don't come at me, Swifties. I'm not a Swiftie. I enjoy some of her music, but I don't want to be forced to listen to it. And I was like, but I really need to be in the Target right now. I'm not
astute enough to be called a Swiftie.
Yeah.
And there's one album I really didn't like. It was too angsty for me.
Oh.
But generally speaking, I like her, and I only have a couple of her albums.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to get Tortured Poets, and I want to get Midnight.
Okay.
Or is it Midnights with an S? I think, is it an S? Anyways, but I don't get them because the Taylor Swift ones, they know people will buy them, so they're always expensive. So they're not, I mean, I say expensive, they're normal price for records, but the other stuff, like I was able to get Ghostbusters for cheap.
Right.
So it's like,
there's not a big calling like, oh my gosh, everyone run and get the Ghostbusters record. Blah.
Yeah, I really want there's a Nightmare Before Christmas one that animates as it spins on your record, in your player. And we
speaking of
animated records,
no,
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
I
was just I got to see
look this way.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
I got to see Pee Wee Herman, what is it? Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
And Danny Elfman was there. And he talked about working with Pee Wee Herman, and Pee Wee, Paul Rubens, is the reason why Danny Elfman did the soundtrack for Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and that's how he got connected to Tim Burton.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, and I think there was a lot of resistance because he was a pop rock
because he was an Oingo Boingo.
Yeah. So there was a lot of resistance for bringing him into Pee Wee. So,
yeah,
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was gonna say, so the record thing.
Oh yes.
I was just gonna share some more about my records. I'm just really excited about my records. I've got some white versions. I've got a good Harry Styles that's speckled.
Is that the one with the watermelon sugar?
I think Watermelon Sugar's on it. It's also got the one what's that song called? It's the one with the video with the fish.
I have no idea.
You don't know the video with the fish? We've watched that.
Are you sure?
It's really long. It's like a short film.
What?
We'll watch it after.
Okay.
I love it so much. It's I guess don't look it up. We'll watch it later.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it out for the viewsters to comment what the song is.
Oh yes, please.
It's the video with Harry Styles and the fish.
Because I have no idea.
Something for you. Anyways, yeah. So I like the platters that look unique.
Nice. Is it that I'm a sucker for you?
No. Oh no.
I don't know who that is.
No.
Maybe that's not him.
I don't know what that is. Somebody
tell us.
Somebody asked recently I was telling you this earlier, that somebody asked if we do TV, if we talk TV.
Oh.
And here we are talking records. I was like, no, we talk movies. Here we are talking records, which we have done TV talk.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways.
Anywho.
Should we talk about trailers?
Sure.
We watched 2 trailers, both of us together.
Yes.
We did it.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one you didn't like?
What was the one I didn't like?
It was called Mickey 17.
Yeah.
And it's got Robert Pattinson and Mark
Tony
Ruffalo,
Collette.
Tony Collette, a bunch of other people.
The guy.
Yeah, the guy.
Yeah. And it's directed by Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, who we love.
Yes.
Right?
Very much.
But you didn't think the trailer looked very good. I thought it looked great.
I don't think that the trailer looked bad. It just doesn't seem like it's my jam.
It reminded me of Moon, Duncan Jones' Moon. Check out the Moon episode of View the Right Thing.
Yes, please.
Which is one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite directors, Duncan Jones. And yeah, it reminded, Sam Rockwell is in that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's got a bit of that vibe.
Okay.
That cloney space vibe.
Mm-hmm.
This is a much bigger budget, bigger in scale kind of film than Moon was. Moon was very like intimate and intentionally lonely, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Did you know? Have you seen the movie Mute? It has who's that guy that never ages? Ant-Man. Paul Rudd. You knew who I was talking about, right?
I did. I knew exactly.
Paul Rudd's in that, and I don't know, some other people. Mute was a Netflix movie that Duncan Jones did, and it is the follow-up to Moon. Oh. In fact, they mention the main character on a news program. The main character from Moon is mentioned on the news program.
Wow.
Sort of as a follow-up.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, I have not seen Mute.
Hey, check it out. It's all right.
Okay. Duncan Jones.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. Partially because I'm a fan of his. I like the world. And Paul Rudd delivers a fantastic performance in it. It is
really
Paul Rudd. You have not seen this version of Paul Rudd before.
Okay.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting. And he channels he's got a little bit of an Elliot Gould from MASH. Check out the MASH episode if you do the right thing. Yeah, it just visually really
cool.
Captures that. So
very nice.
Really cool. Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, Skarsgård's in that one.
Alexander
Skarsgård.
Yeah. Nice.
He is the Mute.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it's a fun little sci-fi movie.
Nice. I do enjoy sci-fi, but this just...
Oh, Mickey 17. Just, I don't know. It looks silly and fun.
There's just so much death.
Well, That's all right.
Yes. Then the other trailer that we watched is We Live in Time with Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield.
Sorry, that's for all my meme fans out there.
I was really hoping to see this horse in the...
We didn't get
the carousel.
We didn't get a glimpse. We saw the carousel.
Did we?
Yeah, the carousel has a brief.
Okay.
Like you can see the lights and stuff for it, but the horse itself was not in the trailer. And I saw an interview with the two leads, Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield, and she was like, "Oh, the horse wasn't even in the movie," and he was like, "Yes, it was." And she's like, "No, it wasn't." And he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "Baby, it absolutely was." Yeah, that's why I think they're dating. He's like, "It absolutely was." And she's like, "No, it wasn't. They had this whole..." He's like, "Yeah, it was. I promise you it was there." She's like, I didn't see it. And I think they cut it out. And he's like, no. They go back and forth for a while about it. So
that's funny.
Yeah, I think they're dating.
Okay.
Anyway, it looks good. It's A24. The trailer made me want to cry. As all A24 movies make me want to, even the horror ones make me want to cry, but for different reasons.
Yeah. It seems very sad and thought-provoking and I did enjoy the undertone of the film is like, enjoy your life now instead of constantly looking ahead to try and find joy elsewhere, which I really appreciate because the play that we just finished was also about that.
Yeah.
About enjoying your life while you're living it in the moment, live in the moment instead of trying to constantly seek it by going on to the next thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
I might like it.
Yeah.
I might like this movie.
I was like, I think this one's up here. Yeah, this is
Probably.
for you.
I'm a sucker for A24.
It's A24, and
Yeah.
it's good acting.
Yes.
You know it's good acting if it's those two. So,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Very different from the movie that we watched today.
What movie was that?
We watched Whiplash.
Yeah. What was it about?
Whew. A promising young drummer enrolls at a cutthroat music conservatory where his dreams of greatness are mentored by an instructor who will stop at nothing to realize a student's potential. Boy, is that understated.
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's the question. Did you enjoy the movie?
I was stressed out the whole time, so I don't know.
I loved it.
Yeah?
I loved it.
It stressed me out
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yeah.
Like at one point, I was leaning up against a pillow, and then it moved to me hugging and holding on to the pillow.
You were?
Yeah.
That's that's
Yep.
funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a feeling I'm going to have maybe a take that's probably not a hot take in general for this film, but probably a hot take for our circle.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this film, directed by Damian Chazelle, who's... I mean, so I have a couple of mixed feelings about Damian Chazelle. One, I'm like, what if genius filmmaker, just does a lot with very little as far as like visual storytelling,
Yeah.
just like really, really pretty stuff, but also like doesn't chooses to not move the camera. Like there's a lot of like really close up static shots of things in the movie.
Yeah.
Which is my version of what I'm trying to say is like does a lot with very little.
Yeah.
Doesn't force you to just be constantly moving. It's not like Michael Bay or something, right?
Right. Right.
But we get it. You like jazz. We get it, Damian.
I like jazz too.
I do too.
Love
I
jazz.
do too, but he did this. He did La La Land. He did freaking Babylon. Like, we get it. You like jazz.
I appreciate the jazz part of it.
I do too. Actually, I thought Babylon deserved to win the Oscar for score when that was out.
Yeah.
I thought Justin Hurwitz, who also did the music in this, the music that wasn't somebody else's music.
That wasn't Buddy Guy.
Yeah.
Wait, Buddy Rich?
Buddy Rich.
Wrong, Buddy.
Yeah. And also, and I will say to Damian Chazelle's credit, did First Man with Ryan Gosling also, which is not about jazz. It's about space travel. So, but I think there was jazz in it.
Probably so.
We get it.
Probably so.
Damian. We get it.
Jazz makes people feel things.
But it's kind of like Tarantino. I'm like, we get it. You like 70s pulpy, like
I thought you were going to say feet.
his titles come in. His titles like slowly drop down the top of the frame, and I'm just like, oh, we get it. Like, come on.
It's like his calling card.
I don't know. I mean, like some directors are like they like to shoot off of reflections, or like Spielberg has like hero shots or whatever. So I don't know. Yeah. Just like trying so hard to make something that's not a thing anymore a thing is just like makes me roll my eyes a little bit. But
maybe it's a thing still for them.
In this case, in the jazz case, it's a little bit more of a big umbrella, so I can give that more of a pass. But I would like to see Damian Chazelle go out, branch out, and do some other things. Like, how cool would a Damian Chazelle Marvel movie be? Might be really cool.
It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how he would. There would be a lot more static shots.
Which
I
think maybe more thoughtful.
enjoyed. I enjoyed the static shots and like really just languishing in what is happening.
that's my visual style as well.
Yeah.
I prefer to have a static shot, or if it moves, for it to be about reframing. So like Steven Spielberg's a great example with Jaws, where you go from a 3-shot to a 2-shot to a single back to a 2-shot,
Yeah.
but it doesn't actually cut away. It's just the camera, the blocking moves, and that's what dictates the shot.
Yeah.
So I like that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, like David Fincher, I mean, love David Fincher, but like David Fincher likes to move. If the people are moving, the camera's moving, So,
yeah.
I get the different styles, but yeah, I do like the static, especially the close-ups of like the cymbals and the
hand in
and
the ice.
And,
yeah.
So this film was nominated for a bunch of Oscars.
Yeah.
Nominated for Best Screenplay, Best Picture. It won Sound Mixing, Editing, and Best Supporting Actor. J.K. Simmons. I mean, incredible performance.
Yeah. The nuances of his emotions were really captivating.
Did you find him really not identifiable to yourself, but identifiable as in you've encountered this person in your career?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. As artists, like I think, and maybe in other places too, but definitely as artists, I think we all have encountered people like this, whether in school or in the field.
Yep. In 6th grade, well, in 5th and 6th grade, I was in band. I played the saxophone, and our band teacher, no joke, his last name was Bandman.
Bandman.
Awesome. And he was so mean. He would yell at us, 6th graders. Like his face would turn red, and I remember one of the women from the front desk in the school had to come to where we were practicing to say, "You need to stop yelling. We can hear you all the way down the hall."
Yeah.
Like he was a dick.
Yeah.
I did not like him. And it's why I left band.
Oh, that's too bad.
Because I don't need to deal with that shit.
You were not a Charlie Parker, according to...
I was not a Charlie Parker. I don't respond well to aggression.
Yeah. So J.K. Simmons was up against Ethan Hawke for Best Supporting Actor. Ethan Hawke did Boyhood. So Ethan Hawke had spent 12 years playing the same character.
Oh my God.
And J.K. Simmons spent 19 days playing this character. Yeah.
What?
I mean, Ethan Hawke is like just nominated multiple times, and he's recognized as such a talented actor.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a heartbreak for
Definitely
him to have spent so much time with a character. Now he did it on and off for 12 years,
Yeah.
But still, like,
wow.
It must have been a heartbreak. But J.K. Simmons was so good in this.
He really was.
He just great. So when Damian Chazelle was trying to get this movie made, he couldn't get funding for it. This was one of those, those like the Blacklist. Are you familiar with the Blacklist?
I know of it.
Plays? Yeah. So this was like, I think one of the highest rated one year of the films that were just not getting made.
Wow.
So what he did is he turned the movie into a short and submitted it to Sundance, and then it won.
That's how you do it.
And then it won the short film jury award and got its funding.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I want to watch that short.
Yeah, I think maybe J.K. Simmons is in that as well, because one of the lines that's in the movie is actually the dialogue recording from the short film.
Huh.
When he says something about fucking the pig. What was the line?
I don't remember that.
He's like, play it right or I'll fuck you like a pig, or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
And that line is which was not
part of the original script.
It was slightly different line.
Yeah.
It wasn't pig, maybe. And J.K. Simmons did it differently, and they thought it was funny, so they left it in, and then they put it in this one too.
Nice.
So the movie was shot in 19 days.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just in general, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because in some ways, I know these guys played a lot of stuff, and Miles Teller like worked really, really hard to play to a track.
Mhm.
But in some ways, this is a little bit of a music video, so like sound becomes a little bit different because, you know, again, they're playing to a track.
Mhm.
So, you know, and it's really like how many different locations? They're not that many different locations.
No.
So I kind of get the 19 days thing. The only part about 19 days that makes me feel like it's hard is just emotionally.
Yeah.
It must have been really difficult. And I believe one of the days, this is really it's 18 days. One of the days was spent on one scene that ended up getting cut from the movie. So a whole day. Yeah. There's like a scene in his office that they cut out of the movie altogether.
Oh.
Yeah. But
in Jerkface's office, Fletcher's office.
In Fletcher's office.
Yeah.
But yeah, a good director, you know, Chazelle knew like it was
organized. You can get it done.
Well, and he knew that even though they cut that scene, it was time well spent, even though they didn't use, you know, they spent a whole day on it, because he felt like it helped J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller sort of develop the chemistry together. So he was like, you know what? Silver lining.
Yeah.
So J.K. Simmons won, just guess how many awards he won for this?
Wait, what do you mean?
Just for this.
J.K. Simmons?
J.K. Simmons.
He could only win one.
He can win many awards. He can only win one Oscar. This girl.
Oh, all of them?
47 awards for his role as Fletcher.
Wow. That's amazing.
He has a music background.
I was going to say.
His mother was a middle school music teacher. His father was the director of music department at the University of Montana, where J.K. Simmons also got a music degree.
You don't say.
Yeah. Miles Teller also, Damian Chazelle didn't know this when he cast Miles Teller. Miles Teller had been playing the drums since he was 15 years old.
How did Damian not know that? Like, wouldn't that be of almost a prerequisite?
Well, I think
so that you know, like, how to hold the drumsticks, how to.
Well, so I think they had the double who played the drums, who did like the close-up stuff, I think.
Okay.
And they could have just gone with them, but they were like, "Oh, we'll get more name recognition with someone like Miles Teller."
Yeah.
And I actually think they offered the role to someone else who turned it down. I can't remember another name.
Whoa.
Who ended up turning it down, like a Dane DeHaan type. I don't know that it was Dane DeHaan, but someone like that. You know, sort of in the same age range as Miles Teller. And then, but I think Miles Teller was sort of like envisioned.
Okay.
And so they got him, and then found out that he plays the drums. And even though he played the drums, he still took lessons. He did four hours a day of practice.
I believe it.
So that way he could keep up with it.
Drumming is hard.
Yeah.
I've taken drumming lessons and I have dabbled, and it's so much fun, but it's hard.
I don't know how much. Well, you know what? I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold this thought.
Okay.
We're going to go to your notes.
Oh, okay.
I do want to say that this is one of the lowest grossing films of all time to be nominated for Best Picture.
Wow.
It was kind of a little known movie at the time, and the Oscars really, you know, I love it. That's one of the beautiful things about the Oscars is, you know, it just brings attention to films. It's kind of like Poor Things. People wouldn't have cared about Poor Things if it wasn't for the Oscars, you know? Like, I mean, people like us would have.
Okay.
But the general public.
It's like, I was really excited.
Yeah, but the general public wouldn't have paid attention to.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that weirdness.
Ugh, so deliciously weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do want to, now that we're talking about Poor Things,
uh-huh.
multiple people in my life who I was convinced would love the film were like me.
Multiple people who I thought would hate it loved it.
Yeah, well, somebody who just watched a movie with on the couch was like me. Had some problems with it. I don't know.
It's fair. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
Everyone is allowed to have bad opinions.
Everyone is allowed to be wrong.
Exactly. Okay. Anyways, let's get to your notes. Let's go to your notes.
Okay. Well, the instructor is a dick from the get-go.
Yeah, I love it.
The first thing.
Yeah.
I know. I also noticed how differently Miles, what's his name? Teller. But what's his character's name? Andrew.
Right?
Andrew? I just know him by his last name. Andrew. It's that Tanner.
No, nope. Not Tanner. Tanner's the other guy. Tanner's the one they make a bunch of homophobic.
Neiman.
Yeah, Andrew Neiman.
There we go.
Yeah.
He holds the drumstick in his left hand wonky.
No.
He holds it.
Where it goes? Yeah, that's how you hold the drumstick. That's how drummers drum. They don't just hold them like. I mean, rock drummers do it like this.
Yeah.
But when you learn to drum, when you learn to drum, you learn to drum with the sticks in, pointed in, the round nub out, and the head in.
Huh. That is not how I learned. And so, but I was taught by a rock drummer.
Yeah. Oh well, you were like
that would.
Yeah. No. I think you change how you hold it based off of what you're doing too and what the song dictates.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like if you were to do like marching band or whatever, like a snare drummer would hold them with the head in.
Huh.
Yep.
That is so interesting. Well, I noticed it right away, and there was a point where I was like, oh, of course he's into Buddy Rich. And I was like, that guy was amazing. And I go, I hope they show Anatomy of a Drum Solo, which I own. It's wonderful. And
that's the really long. That's the one he did at like 60.
No, Anatomy of a Drum Solo is Neil Peart.
Oh, okay.
Who was a huge fan of Buddy Rich.
Oh, okay.
And one of the best drummers of all time, Neil Peart. Big Rush fan, seen him 5 times. R.I.P. Neil Peart. But I thought that was cool.
Well, Buddy Rich did the Impossible drum solo.
Yeah.
So you know about that one?
Yes.
It was like in like the 80s at like a Sinatra thing.
Yeah.
Do you know the crazy thing about the Buddy Rich Impossible drum solo?
Do tell.
So it's like considered to be like the greatest drum solo ever like recorded. He did it at 60 to show that he could still do it at 60, and he played through a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital afterwards. Like he played through a heart attack.
Y'all, that's too much.
It's I think indicative of what this movie is trying to say about the commitment. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go a little further than that a little bit later, but I don't want to spoil that thought yet. But I think it's part of like what this movie is sort of trying to say, and that's the. I know we're not at the end yet, but the solo at the end is a reference to the Impossible Drum solo. So. Yeah,
which was really gorgeous.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Andrew seems so lonely. I was going to say at the beginning, but also just like in general.
Yeah,
he's a really lonely guy.
Yeah, and I think part of it is. Okay, I'm just gonna do that.
Do
it.
Okay.
This film is not. I mean, is about gifted people.
Yes,
and it's about music. But the movie's actually also about drug addiction, and
depression.
And depression, and well, the things that come with addiction.
Yeah, and
like drug addicts. He has pushed people away. You see that happen at the family dinner. He's pushed some people away, and he has also isolated himself because of his addiction, and
his addiction to drumming.
But it's an allegory for drugs, right? So like we get. That's why I was trying to save it for the end because it's a little bit more clear at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just kind of leave it there, and then just kind of pepper in. Yeah, this is another example of this. So, as we go.
Well, I do understand that. I would say I'm addicted to performing.
Sure.
When I'm not when I'm not on stage or singing or doing something creative, I get depressed.
Yeah.
And I just need that. I need that drug. Sorry, that was so inappropriate.
You can say that, Lisa.
Oh.
She's making obscene hand gestures.
Yeah. It's my drug of choice.
Yeah. No.
Acting, performing, and because it feels good.
Yeah. Well, and I think, again, I just want to like stress that it's like on its surface, that's what it is, but it's also an allegory for something a little bit more tangible in society, which is like there's like a physical representation of actually drug addiction.
Yeah.
Check out our episode of Beautiful Boy. Do the right thing. You were in that one.
I think so.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
But yeah, so anyways, yeah, I'll let you go on with your notes here.
Oh, okay. How evil that the instructor said to get to the practice at 6 a.m. And no one showed up until 9. How evil.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's it. Okay, here's.
You just think he was evil for the sake of being evil? I don't
think so. I think so. Here comes hot take time. You ready? Ready for hot take time?
Sure.
I think there are certainly better ways in general to get through to people.
Yeah.
So I'm going to preface what I'm saying with that.
Okay.
I don't think he was evil. I think he was trying to do what he thought was the best thing for these people, for these young people. And, like a coach, whether it's sports or in art or whatever, like their job is not to just like win, but to like bring out the best in the people below them. And he genuinely believes that in order to find the best and bring out the absolute best, then you have to do it a certain way. And that if you can't make that happen, then you don't belong there in the first place. Like you're wasting your time.
Interesting.
And I think he genuinely believes what he's doing is, and you hear him sort of say that when they have a conversation later at the near the end of the film, and you see him accept Andrew at the end as well. And I think that's because he's like, he believes in the thing that he's doing.
I don't know.
And I don't think it's because he's evil or because he's doing it because he's evil, like evil for the sake of evil.
But when he invites him to do the JVC and specifically didn't tell him the very first song they open with, I think he invited him to do that so that he could make him look bad.
Absolutely, he did. Absolutely,
that's evil. And I think
I think the term evil is being a little like
vindictive.
Used.
He's vindictive.
He's vindictive for sure.
And he's
we've all been vindictive at times. Like, look, I'm not trying to just like blanket like defend the guy, but and this is where the hot take comes in. But like, I do think that there are methods that work well for different people, and there are some people who can only get to that level with something like this. And you see it, and where it is probably appropriate is in the military. I think there are limits to everything. Don't get me wrong. But I think that there are situations that it's more appropriate where life and death, for example, matter, and you have to be that difficult and that hard on people.
Right.
Obviously, art, it shouldn't be one of those places, but some people do come out better as performers from that, and that they wouldn't get to that place if they weren't pushed by, and that's why some artists really loved directors like Kubrick, you know?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that to my actors, but I kind of get it to some extent, and I don't think Andrew gets there without him. I think this character never becomes what he's going to become at the end of this film without this character. And I think that's the really interesting, one of the reasons I love the movie, this really interesting, like tragedy about it is that in order for him to become great, he has to suffer this way. And that's sad. It's sad and it's heartbreaking, but it doesn't make it less true to me, at least.
The way it comes off to me is he excelled in spite of Fletcher? Is that his name?
Yeah, Fletcher. I can understand.
Like, for me, I excel when people say that I can't do something.
But the point was, yeah,
but like, oh, you know what? I don't think you can do that. Well, yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong, and not, no, again, do it again. You're wrong. You're bad. It's not like I don't want to hear I'm bad. It's more of, well, I don't know if you can do it. And then I'm like, well, fine. I'm going to show you.
But if Andrew didn't believe that, if Andrew didn't believe what Fletcher was doing was the right thing, he wouldn't have gone back, and he wouldn't have been in a position to have that moment where he finally played the tempo. He would not have been in that position if Fletcher hadn't been vindictive. Like, he just doesn't get there in the film without it.
I guess.
It's and again, I think it's heartbreaking and sad, but also like kind of amazing too. Like, that's what makes a truly great film great, is that it leaves you with conflicting feelings about things and things to think about and talk about, like what we're doing now, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, that's my I know in my circle, people are going to be a little surprised to hear me say, like, be in defense of Fletcher and say that, like, I kind of think, you know, there's my favorite baseball player of all time. Doesn't become my favorite baseball player without having gone through something really, really similar, which is at a really young age, Ichiro Suzuki was sort of forced by his father to, like, when you get done with practice, you go home and practice. Like, it was grueling, constant. You pick up from school, go to practice. After practice, we go home and practice. Get up in the morning, you practice. And he becomes, in my opinion, one of the greatest, maybe the greatest right fielder of all time in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And dude doesn't talk to his father anymore. Heartbreaking. It's sad. It's tragic, and it shouldn't be that way. But
in which direction?
It shouldn't be where you have to sacrifice your family in order to achieve greatness. But he also credits his father as having created this.
Wow.
This commitment. Well, I mean, there's like a commitment and a respect and a, like, respect for the game and like how you go about it and what the process is. And without his father, that doesn't happen. And we don't have, number 51 for the Seattle Mariners. So
yeah,
heartbreaking.
Oh gosh.
Anyway, what are some other notes on yours?
Other notes. I thought the interaction with the movie gal.
Yeah, Melissa I don't know if it's Benoist or Benoit or...
Maybe.
I don't know how you say her name. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I thought it was really adorable when he asks her out. And it was right after he had been invited to the core class.
It was like...
so it gave him that confidence.
Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Teacher Man, that's what I wrote down. Instead of Fletcher, Teacher Man is being oddly nice out of nowhere. I was like, it's a wicked sus after just kicking someone out who wasn't actually off key.
Yeah.
Which, like, really showed what this guy was like. He was just
they hinted
mean for the sake of being mean.
They hinted at it earlier than that, actually. He tells him to play, like, was it like 258 BPM? So, like, beats per minute. And he's telling him he's not getting that, and he walks out. And so Andrew thinks he's not there. And so he ends up on his own, just practicing till his hands bleed because he's trying to get faster and faster and faster. Right. The truth is that what people don't know, unless they have gone back and looked or heard, is that he was actually playing the correct beats per minute, which is an indicator to us that, if that Fletcher was from the beginning going to be cruel.
Yes. Well, and there was even a part, I go, even though he's a total asshole, I can hear the rushing and the dragging.
Mm-hmm.
There were moments I could hear it, but he gets so abusive about it.
He actually slapped him too in those scenes.
I know.
I
could see his face getting red.
I think only in one take.
Okay.
The other takes were mimed.
Good.
And then the last take, they were like, let's do it for real.
Yep.
I mean, the actors chose, I believe.
I'm sure.
I don't think the director suggested that.
No. Me to that little girl. Don't do it. Don't ever go to his band when you're in college. Because when they're getting ready for that performance.
The first invitational that they go to?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's that little girl in the hallway. And he's like being all buddy-buddy with her. Oh, are you still doing music? When you get to college, you should come to my class. And I was like, no, don't do it.
You know, it's interesting. When we watched that scene, I was thinking about that and going, does that father push his daughter to do that? And I don't know. He probably doesn't seek him out behind the scenes to have a conversation of, hey, how are you doing? Good to see you, blah, 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 blah. Right? Unless he loved that teacher. And I think there's probably people who graduate from this program who loved this teacher. I had maybe my favorite teacher in film school was abrasive and tough and swore at people and not this. He wasn't this.
Thank God.
And eventually let go by the school because some parents complained about how he spoke in class. Mm-hmm. Was my favorite teacher out of all my film school teachers, and one I learned the most from, and the one that I sought out after graduating to spend time with and learn more from and go to movies with. Sometimes, like, you know, everybody gets, again, going back to not everybody learns the same way. So, like, for you, this would be terrible, right? Mm-hmm. But for other people, it'd be great. And the way you would excel is not great for somebody who would excel in this manner.
I guess so.
And so I wondered when in that scene, is this one of these former students who did excel from his method and loves him for it and is now seeking him out after the fact going, hey, it's really good to see you. I heard this was going on, so I came to see you and say hi, blah, blah, blah. This is my daughter. And obviously he's seen the daughter before because he says, I haven't seen you since you were this tall.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a guy who sends his daughter to this guy. Yeah.
I don't know. If I were in that guy's position, I would be like, I'm never introducing my daughter to you.
Yeah, maybe.
You will not. There were no women in the corps.
Yeah, there were.
Where?
The first chair saxophonist was a woman. Remember?
No, that was the other group.
No, was that the other
she
group?
was hot.
Oh, because whether or not she was cute. You're right. There are no women in the corps. Yeah. No, you're right. Fair enough.
I just think he was a...
I don't know. We'd have to, like, assume based off of that one piece of evidence that, like, there was no other evidence that he was... I'm just not going to make that call.
I didn't say it. I didn't say anything.
I'm just saying that you are saying that you would never introduce your daughter to him based off of the fact that you don't like him.
Correct.
But
and I don't want his personality to rub off.
As an actor, real quick.
Sure.
Pretend that you love this guy. Right?
Right.
Do you introduce your daughter to him?
Yes.
Exactly. And that's all I'm saying. It's like, that's the indicator that this method works for some people.
Yeah.
Whether it's right or not is beside the point.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair.
I agree that it's wrong. Don't get me wrong. I agree it's wrong. And I would never treat people this way.
Yeah.
But when I first was started in film school, I thought that's how you were supposed to be. So the very first short film I worked on as a director, we faked me being mean. Because it's not in my nature to do it. But we thought that that's what was supposed to happen and that the crew was supposed to see that. Right. Because those are like these things that you're taught and you see. You're not really taught to be mean, but you see that, like, the great people and they get stuff done and blah, 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 blah. And when a mistake was made, it was like, we pull everybody together and then, okay, I'm going to yell at this person. One of our group. Chris, actually. It was Chris. You know Chris.
What?
It was Chris he was like, yeah, I'll take the I'll get yelled at in front of everyone, even though he didn't do the thing, right?
Okay.
So that way it could send a message to everybody else, right? Somebody gets in trouble for a thing, the person who actually did it doesn't have to feel bad, and that they don't have to get yelled at, right?
Yeah.
They can secretly feel bad that they made a mistake, but they don't have to get embarrassed in front of everyone.
Right.
And Chris already knows, so he's, like, whatever. Like, he doesn't care.
Right.
And so he's in on it. And but we thought that's what and my understanding and education of what a director is very different now, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, like, some people they react that way. She's gonna sneeze. She's trying not to sneeze. You can do it. It's okay.
I'm so sorry. They're really loud.
Sometimes she doesn't like it 10 times too.
It's true.
We'll see what happens.
I'm good.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think the indicator that he's introducing his daughter is that this worked for someone else.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe it's relegated to the music.
Yeah.
It's like,
Maybe.
Like, don't bring your work home kind of a thing.
Yeah. Maybe.
We don't know.
We have no idea.
We have no idea.
We're just speculating over here.
Damian, put it in the comments.
Tell us, Damian, please.
Yeah, we need to know.
Thank you. I wrote down, he's catching the rude behavior from the band teacher. So you said that Andrew was awkward, and that's why he was talking the way he did to his cousins, right?
So I think a couple things. So I think there's like a piece of this that's addiction related. So I think that's a reference to how addicts tear apart their families and they isolate themselves with their actions and their words.
Yeah.
And so I think this is the subtext for that. I kind of agree with you that he's mimicking sort of the teacher or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, a little piece of me, again,
Go ahead.
little piece of me thinks that he's also becoming more confident because of the way the teacher is treating people. I think like as Andrew pushes himself and sees that he can do things and he didn't just gain confidence with his family, he gains confidence with the teacher. He's like, this is my solo. I can do this. No, I can play this. Even when he's not given even when someone else is given something like a whole day to practice something. Yeah. And then he's given it at the caravan for the first time. He's like, no, I can do this. Just give me let me do it one more time. Yeah. He's getting confidence from this method. This again, the subtext is addiction, I believe, but on the face of it, I think the teacher is succeeding in what he's trying to do.
Interesting. So I have a different view of that. So you say that it's confidence. I think, or I feel that him wanting to go again was frustration. Like, why are you being, from my point of view, it's like, why are you being such a dick? I haven't seen this. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I just picked up the fucking paper, and now you're expecting me to do it perfectly.
I agree with you that he's frustrated.
Yeah.
But I also think that he believes he can do it in that moment. Sure. I think at the beginning of this film, he wouldn't have had the confidence to do that when he's just a page turner behind the other guy. Mm-hmm. I don't think he would have done that. But I think at this stage, he's confident enough to say, I can do it, and I believe that I can do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, I think he's trying to put his money where his mouth is in that moment.
Yeah.
And I think the thing with the family isn't him just being rude. I think it's him. Several times in the film, you see them, especially early on, they both are just being walked on. Oh, yeah. Somebody bumps into his dad at the movie theater.
And he apologizes.
And the dad gets talked over and he gets talked over at dinner. And I think it's a moment of him having the confidence to finally go, hey, we're people too. We have stuff to say. Yeah. And I don't think how he handles it is rude. Again. Yeah. There's much that's wrong about things that happen in this film. Right. But the process of how they get there is kind of reasonable. Right. So. Yeah.
And the character Andrew is 19. Yeah. His brain isn't fully formed. So sure, he has that wiggle room to act like that.
Yeah.
The grown adult man.
Yeah. The uncle or whatever.
Oh no, I mean Fletcher.
Oh, Fletcher. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the uncle is also
A jerk.
yeah. So they're just surrounded themselves with jerks.
Well, because they're people that get walked on.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's just real.
Yeah. Andrew goes on a journey in this film, man.
He really does.
It's again, it's beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time.
Oh God, the moment that he's at the diner with his girlfriend and he breaks up with her based on a list of hypotheticals.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, you know, I'm going to have to work more and then I'm not going to get to spend time with you. And then you're going to resent me for not spending time with you. And then I'm going to resent you. And it's just like, you made all of this stuff up in your mind. And
it's an addict's thing, right?
It is.
Like, I'm not going to be good enough for you. I'm never going to be able to be good enough for you. I'm going to weigh your life down.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I'm going to go back to the heroin every time. Like you know, I'm not going to be able to fight it off. You can put me in rehab, but eventually I'm going to go back, and you shouldn't have to deal with that. It's a very like common addict-y thing to do.
Yeah.
And again, it's like him isolating himself, so that way he doesn't have people telling him not to do drugs.
Yeah. Wow. Oh God, the emotionality that J.K. Simmons was able to display when he was talking about Sean. So when he got that phone call, I saw like just a tiny little tear.
The tear on his face.
When he turned away, and I was like, ooh, that was good.
Yeah.
But then when he is in the room and talking about Sean, one of his favorite, most talented students.
Yeah.
And he got so beautifully emotional. It was really beautiful to watch. And I gotta say, it felt more like he was upset that Sean died because one of his prodigy was no longer there to say, this man taught me.
Yeah, I think he wanted
the notoriety. Yeah. Like, I'm going to abuse the shit out of people until one of them makes it, and then I look good.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he just got to be a teacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, going back to, like, he clearly has a former student seek him out and praise him. Mm-hmm. So he's getting some of that.
But I don't think Sean was praising him. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He gave him a... Yeah, I think you're right. I think Sean was probably like trying to stick it to him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Fletcher, in my opinion, what Fletcher is doing in that moment is leveraging the death of the student to be the carrot instead of the stick. So he's like uses the carrot and the stick a lot. So the carrot is like being really, really nice. And learning about your family. What does your dad do? What did your mom do? And the stick is, well, your dad never made it and your mom left because your dad's a loser. You know, like, so I think this was the carrot, right? I really cared about this student and listen to how beautiful of an artist he was. Mm-hmm. And it's because he came through this program and I believed in him when other people didn't believe in him. It's the carrot. And I could be wrong, but I think that's what I got out of the scene was he's leveraging the death of the student. He lies about how the student dies.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says that he died in a car accident.
Tragic. Because if they know that this guy hung himself, then they can draw conclusions that this is not a carrot, this is a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a note here to remind you about a bloody hand faster scene.
Oh, okay. Well, so first of all, some of the blood in the movie is actually Miles Teller drumming and bleeding.
Oh my God.
On equipment. And I'm trying to think what else I wanted to tell you about that. Oh, the director, Damian Chazelle, just wouldn't call cut. Just let him just go and go and go because he wanted him to genuinely be exhausted on film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it worked.
Well, some people would say that's harsh. I brought it back. It's no Kubrick slapping his people around or anything.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
None of that.
Also, something I wouldn't do, and I certainly don't condone slapping your actors.
No, I would be done.
Yeah.
I'd be like, fuck this. I'm done.
Yeah.
That is unacceptable behavior.
Yeah, but in the 70s, you know, people accepted it. Nowadays, it's like a lawsuit and a whole, like, cancel stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that it wasn't, like, a huge part of the film, but I feel like they really glossed over the fact that Andrew got in a serious car accident and walked away.
That he got up. It reminded me of, there's a true story about Leah Michele auditioning for Glee.
Okay.
On her way to the audition, she got into like a car accident outside the studio, got out of the car, went in, did her audition, and got the part. It reminded me of that. I don't know.
And she didn't like get arrested for fleeing the scene of a crime.
She probably wasn't flipped over, you know. She probably pulled the car off to the side.
That was a serious car accident.
Yeah.
He definitely had a concussion.
Oh yeah, he should not have gone in there.
No.
Yeah. For sure. Mobility issues and stuff.
Yes, like he would have. They just really glossed over that. Like, you just left a serious car accident.
Yeah. When J.K. Simmons, when the movie came out, J.K. Simmons would sneak into the theaters and just kind of get the audience reaction.
Oh.
And he said that every time when you see the drumsticks on the seat, when he leaves drumsticks, there's like every time there's a gasp in the audience.
I gasped.
Yeah, I heard it here. Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty great moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It slightly didn't make sense, though, that he was able to go in and get the drumsticks so easily, since they were closed. They were closing when he went to go get the car.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, how did he, if there was such a tight window and he had to like bang on the door to get them to let him in?
I'm unclear because
that was weird. That
was already
make sense.
That was already after 5, right? So
yes.
But he said you're still open, which makes me think they're supposed to be open until like 6.
Yeah.
5:30 or 6, right? Because it was after 5 already.
Okay.
Wasn't it? Because he was supposed to be there at 5, and I don't think he got to the car place until 5.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're still open."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Who knows? Not important though. Not important.
Okay. The next thing I wrote was, he's dismissed from school, and Fletcher is being looked into as an abusive man. I was like, about fucking time. Plus, he lied about Sean died. He didn't die in a car accident. He hanged himself and was severely depressed, which would have, like, he just glossed over that fact. He's like, oh, he died in a car accident. Oh, it makes me feel so, like, give me sympathy, but it's really all my fault.
Well, and now that we're talking about it, car accident is what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes, it is.
But I do want to talk about that scene with the administrator.
Yes.
So that is another subtext for the drug addiction, and that's his father's having, like, it's intervention, right?
Yeah.
It's, hey, we think this is the best thing for you. You want to do this, and where they really just like drive it home is he looks at his dad and he says, "Why are you doing this to me?" Which is the thing that addicts say when they're like, why are you doing this? Why can't you let me be me?
Yeah.
And the dad says, "There's nothing more important in the world to me than you."
Yeah.
Which is what people who love drug addicts say.
So, like, his dad cares so much about him.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
And sad.
Yeah.
Because his dad watches him choose drugs at the end of the film.
Drums, drugs.
Yeah.
It's about
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
I do want to, on the topic of drugs, and since I've mentioned it multiple times, so just to put it out there, since we're like a podcast talking about movies and we're talking about factoids and maybe correcting some things, Charlie Parker didn't die from heroin overdose. So he did die young, but he I guess pneumonia is what he's listed as having died from. So, but he did choose that hard life over everything else, including family.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know how he got the they talk about the how he got his nickname Yardbird when his nickname was Yardbird. there are two thoughts to that.
Okay.
One is the cymbal being thrown at him, and he ducks out of the way, whatever.
Thank you. Like, where did bird come from? Ducks. Okay.
I think maybe the more likely, which that did happen to him. But I think it's maybe more widely believed amongst musicians. There's a story where they were in the car, and they were leaving somebody's property, and they hit a chicken, and he got out and grabbed the chicken, which was a yard bird. And had them cook it for him for dinner later that night. So I think that's maybe more likely how he got the nickname Yardbird.
Probably.
So, which they mention a lot of Charlie Parker stuff in the movie. Like they ask him to play the Donna Lee, which is a Charlie Parker. He tells the bassist to play like 5 bars of Donna Lee, and so he plays it.
Yeah.
It's like a renowned bass line, but it's Charlie Parker thing. So a lot of Charlie Parker stuff in this movie. Charlie Parker attempted to kill himself twice. Another tragic. He ended up in a mental hospital at one point. So, and then when he was visiting a friend, he died, supposedly of pneumonia. He was, when he died, the coroner estimated his age to be 55 or 60. He was 34.
Oh.
He lived a hard life.
Oh my God.
He lived fast and hard, that guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Side note, I feel like we should add a trigger warning to the beginning of this.
Yeah, maybe we'll.
So sorry.
To do that, yeah.
Because we're talking about some heavy stuff.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Remind me when we get done.
Okay. I will.
I can do this. You have some more notes?
I do.
Yeah. What you got?
Well, so we talked about both Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons having musical backgrounds. Does J.K. Simmons actually play the piano?
Yes.
Because that looked real and it looked beautiful.
Yeah, he plays piano.
I really enjoyed watching that jazz scene where he's playing the piano. I was like, so you're not just a conductor. You can actually do something.
Yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
But when Andrew and Fletcher are talking, I wrote down one of the lines that Fletcher says. He goes, "I don't think people understood what it was I was doing. I was there to push people beyond what was expected of them."
Mm-hmm. And I think he believes that.
He absolutely does.
Yeah. That's why I don't think he's evil. I think he does a bad thing, but I think he thinks he's doing a good thing. I think he thinks he's doing the right thing.
Probably. I mean, maybe he was abused and it worked for him. And so he thought, I'm going to do this for other people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and he's sort of the drug dealer in this scenario, right?
True. Yes.
There is something I loved about that scene, which is that it's the inverse of the dinner scene, where it's like two people talking as equals instead of like, throughout the film, Fletcher is always like above, right? Treats them as below. And this scene is like the first time that Andrew feels equal to him. Yeah. And they have a conversation as equals and an understanding with each other. Mm-hmm. I think that, I don't think Andrew wants to when the administrator and his dad talk to him, he doesn't want to rat out this guy that he in a weird way respects. Mm-hmm. And I think he feels kind of guilty about that. And I think this is like his way of like sort of like coming through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. But like just as an example of how intense and extreme he was as an instructor, Tanner, the other drummer, switched to pre-med.
Yeah, like that's not stressful.
Like that says a lot about his teaching methods. Yeah, that they were extreme and intense and traumatizing.
In that scene, he talks about like, I'm looking for the next Charlie Parker or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's what he says. And I think and again, like his method is going to find Charlie Parker, right?
Yeah.
But the other methods that you're talking about that work for people like you, for example, maybe Dizzy Gillespie isn't Charlie Parker, but he's still Dizzy Gillespie.
Right.
Right. So like, you know, maybe Tanner, if he had found a different teacher, he could have been someone else, you know, he could have been a different, the equivalent of a different musician, maybe not the greatest musician of all time, according to these guys, but, but maybe could have been something.
Yeah.
Again, the heartbreak of this film, you know, is that these people found this guy.
It is abounding.
Yeah.
And he's so, Fletcher is so different around the JVC band. He's still direct and he's still intense.
Yeah.
But he wasn't as vindictive and harsh. And then I go, never mind.
Well,
he's just fucking with him. This man is vile.
Well, he wasn't with the band. He was with Andrew.
Yes. With the band, he was much softer.
And again, I think this again indicates that he doesn't believe what he's doing. I mean, obviously he's being vindictive here, but what he was doing at the school in his eyes was not evil or wrong. It was a good thing. And and this is an indicator of that, because these are not students. Again, going back to this idea that coaches are supposed to bring out the best in the people below them. He's not these people's coach.
Right.
He's the guy who's waving his hands around, giving them the tempo, but he's not the coach anymore. It's not his responsibility. He's like, look, you're either going to make it or you're going to break it out there. People are going to make your career or you're going to kill your career. That's up to you at this point. I can't do that for you. So I think that's why he's like much more chill with the JVC band.
Yeah. Ugh.
There's a lot with this film. I love this movie.
There's a lot.
I really love this movie.
The caravan fuck you was my favorite part.
The drum solo? Like, well, yeah. And the fact that he steps on him, he interrupts him talking to the crowd with it as just a way to just like kick it off is so great. Yeah. And what a killer drum solo.
And the last thing I wrote was, so because he became a cocky ass, he gained Fletcher's respect.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to look at it. Like if I don't know, if the Karate Kid does it, you don't see him as a cocky ass. You see him as like, you know, like coming into his own. Maybe he's becoming a cocky ass, and probably him and Fletcher go on and have a career together. You know, they continue to do this thing where they antagonize each other. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I characterize it as he becomes a cocky ass. Maybe he is. I think he's all in on the drugs, which is the sad moment you see the dad see him through the door. And that's the dad like going, I just, you know, I'm going to continually lose him to the drugs. Which is heartbreaking. Yeah. Again, it reminds me of Beautiful Boy.
Totally.
Steve Carell. But yeah, I like Andrew's moment that he gets. I like that he earns his respect, and then he kind of not pulls one over on him, but regains his confidence. Like his confidence is shot for a moment.
Oh yeah.
But I like that he regains it.
Yeah.
But again, doesn't get there without this moment. He just makes sandwiches, and maybe, you know, maybe he gets to live a nice life with a pretty girl, but he's never going to feel that high again. Yeah, never gets there.
Or maybe he was just like, wait, you're going to try and screw me over? No, I'm going to screw you over, and I'm just going to take control of this band. So I'll count you in. Now you go.
I don't know. He could have, but it doesn't embarrass him though. That's the thing, is it doesn't embarrass Fletcher at all, right? Like it only makes Fletcher look good if his performers perform well. So it's, again, I think it's about regaining his confidence and proving like, no, I have the confidence to do this, and I can do this. I am this.
Yeah.
I am this. I am made for this. But it doesn't actually screw over Fletcher in any way. Maybe irritates Fletcher.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt Fletcher's career. And again, this is another example of like cancel culture isn't real. Is like Fletcher gets booted but still is like showing up and playing in clubs and playing at Carnegie Hall. Like, like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Berate students. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, any other notes?
No.
No.
That was it.
I don't know.
Go.
I don't know if I have any other notes really. I think we mostly kind of tackled it all. J.K. Simmons suffered 2 cracked ribs when he got tackled by Miles Teller.
No.
It was the last 2 days of the shoot. Yeah.
I mean, Miles did what everyone else was thinking.
Sure. Let's see here. Yeah, it's intentionally, the movie sort of ends in a way that's sort of a little bit unresolved. Like you don't exactly know what's going to happen next with Fletcher and Andrew. But that's obviously intentional. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The throwing of the symbol actually is mischaracterized a little bit.
Okay.
At least jazz historians. So the story is drummer Joe Jones threw a cymbal in response to Charlie Parker's playing, but he didn't throw it as a physical attack on Parker. He threw it at the stage floor as a signal that Parker should leave the stage. Jazz historians have also said that this was not a response to poor performance, as Fletcher says, but because the older musicians disapproved of the fast improvisations Parker was playing that became his trademark.
I see.
So, and the song that plays when he goes on the date with Nicole,
yes,
is not a real musician. It's Justin Hurwitz, the composer for the film, and he attributes it to this 1938 jazz song. And it's not. It's
that
purely...
wouldn't have sounded that clear in 1938.
Oh yeah,
it would have had a lot more crackles.
Yeah. I'm starting to the more I listen to vinyl, I'm like maybe okay with the crackles every once in a while. Usually I'm like I got Raiders of the Lost Ark, and as it was supposed to be like near mint, and I put it on. And I was like, there's too many crackles for this to be near mint, and I really wanted a pristine record version of this. So I haven't gone back to that, but I was listening to Fantasia recently. I was like, the crackles are a little okay on this. So
I love a good crackle.
It depends. I think it depends on on what's playing. So I don't have anything else.
Anything else either.
Would you recommend this film?
It depends on the person.
I'm 100% in on this.
It really gave me a lot of anxiety.
Like I feel like if the point of this is these are the movies that you need to watch before you die because you're trying to appreciate film as a whole, then yes, this has got to be on that list for sure.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
If it was just like would my mom enjoy this? I don't know. Would I be like, hey, Mom, you should watch
I don't think my mom would like this at all.
I wouldn't recommend this to children.
No, definitely not. No.
But
there are too many horrible slurs.
Oh, yeah. There are
that are thrown around.
But, I think, at a certain age, understanding there are some people out there that are like this. You're going to encounter people like this.
Yeah. Even though you don't want to.
Yeah. And you're going to be faced with tough decisions. And,
yeah.
And maybe have some conversations about drug addiction,
or addiction in general.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of things in this are identified. Like I'm addicted to eating, right? So I struggle with that. And I can identify with some of these feelings.
Yeah.
And some methods that work and some methods that don't. Mm-hmm. But I think subtextually, this is really a heroin movie, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard.
I guess if you want to not only watch things that are happy-go-lucky, it was very well made.
Yeah, it's like leaving Las Vegas. I don't want to watch that movie again, but it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Incredible performances and stuff in it. And in this, the music is incredible. The directing is great. The performances are amazing. There's not much to fault in this film. So, I'd be hard pressed to be like, as a most people are listening to this because they're film buffs. So,
Yeah.
If you're a film buff and you haven't seen Whiplash, why are you listening to this? But also go watch it.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes, I will say all of the performances were beautiful.
Yeah.
Even Paul Reiser, such a small role, and I think he did wonderfully.
He was great. And
I'm a fan of Paul Reiser.
and crucial. Yeah, me too. Check out our diner episode. He's incredibly important to the film and sort of understanding the difference between being a doormat and somebody who has feet, and it's crucial to the film. And I think like we definitely love the dad character more than we love Fletcher.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So he's really important. He's really important to the film.
Yeah, he is.
They all are. I mean, Melissa Benoist. Sorry, I don't know how to say it. She's also super, super important to the film and sort of like explaining his awkwardness. And I was, commenting, maybe he's on the spectrum. We won't get into that really. But being able to sort of juxtapose those personalities and whether they're awkward or not.
Right.
Like her lack of confidence comes from like things people have said to her about her looks, and he doesn't care about that stuff.
Right.
It's so interesting. And his lack of confidence, or his confidence is actually built by being told those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
So, also a very, very, very important character to the film.
Yes.
Everybody was great in this.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So here's the deal.
Okay.
I didn't prepare a Christmas bucket.
Oh no.
So I think our next movie is going to be a surprise, but it will be a holiday film.
Surprise.
If you subscribe to the Patreon, then you will know days ahead of time. Maybe in this case, maybe I'll even do a week ahead of time. I'll let people know what the next movie is going to be. So check us out on patreon.com/VTRT movies. That's like View the Right Thing movies, VTRT
Yes.
movies. I want to give a little shout out to new Patreon subscriber Beee with the many E's.
Yay.
I don't know. I sent a message saying, hey, how do you want to be referred to?
Sure.
So I don't know for sure. So that may change
Okay.
the next time we do a shout out. But thanks, Bee.
Thank you,
You're
Bee.
great.
Yeah.
You can find us on Instagram. You can listen to us. If you're listening to us, you might be on YouTube, you might be on Spotify, you might be on Apple, you might be on Google, you might be on who knows what platform. We're on all these platforms like Podbean, and you could give us a little rate, like, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
Do all those fun things.
Yeah. And on Patreon, you can be a patron and you can follow us for free. There is no need to give us money, but if you feel like it, go ahead. There are different tiers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's different tiers. There's even a tier where you get to watch a movie with us once a month. And next month, it will be a holiday film. There is a poll out now where you can vote. All members can vote on the movie. So even if you're a free member, you get to vote. We definitely encourage you to vote and sway, what we watch as a community. And then if you want to watch with us, you want to be in the Viewster tier. And then we get together on Discord and we do a little watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good time. A good time had by all.
Lovely. That was great.
Yeah. So that's it for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Until next time, everyone. Bon cinema.